Janome.
Hi, I'm Janome maker Casey Renee. In this video, I'm going to show you how to make a velvet cloak that's perfect for your vampire, elf, high fantasy costume. With Halloween right around the corner, it's really helpful to have staple pieces like cloaks that you can use time and time again for different costumes. So in this video, I'm going to break down how to use velvet, and I'm also going to share some beadwork techniques to kind of embellish that final look so that you can make this cloak your own. Let's get started. Years ago, I used to make hobbit cloaks for my Etsy shop, and I thought that pattern would be perfect because they have a shoulder seam so that it will like sit on your shoulders and like look really nice up here, and then it obviously gets wider and more billowy at the bottom. The problem is my patterns are everywhere. I have some on this shelf here, in this box, and then I have a very large box up in my attic. Let's hope it is not in the attic. I do not want to go in the attic. No label. What could this be? Not the pattern. I think we have to go in the attic.
Hello, darkness, my old friend.
Okay, so I'm not going to take you up there because if you know, you know. This is the pattern. This one. This is the pattern. This is what I went up there to get. Let's hope all the pieces are in it, because guess what? I didn't check. Okay, so now we can get started. Okay, so I have my pieces cut out. They are rather large, and I'm gonna show you the fabric that I chose in a second, but they are too big for my table, and I will be working with velvet, so we're gonna have to live our best floor troll life yet again. I do not like the troll floor life. I will not be subscribing to this again in the near future, so I'll see you over there. So all 4 pieces are cut out, and now I'm ready to sew together the fashion layer of Nandor's cape clothing. But before we do, I wanted to share with you some tips about sewing with velvet, cutting velvet, and how to properly work with velvet so that you don't get that weird puckering or like any weird shiftiness, because we all know that velvet is a shady queen. Velvet is a fibrous fabric that has what is called a nap. The nap is the texture of the fabric and describes which way the fibers align. With velvet, you can feel the nap. It's softer, and you typically want to place your grain lines going on the nap. You can decide to go the opposite way as long as all of your pieces are cut going on the nap or against the nap. When you work with velvet, every time you puncture it with a pin, you can leave micro holes that may be seen in the final project. So it's best to pin inside of your seam allowance. Since velvet is slippery, pins are not quite enough to keep the fabric from slipping around, so I hand basted the pieces together, alternating between a long stitch and a short stitch. I do this inside my seam allowance as well. A walking foot is incredibly helpful to creating a beautiful stitch on velvet. I loosen my tension as well as stitch with a 3.5mm stitch length using a 70-11 universal needle and cotton thread. Okay, so I just found out that my machine has a walking foot, which is a sewing foot that is really, really helpful for velvet. And I just learned how to use it, so I'm gonna use it on this. I was having puckering issues on my velvet, and I'll show it to you in a second. And I just didn't like the way it was looking. We're gonna try the walking foot. I'll compare them, and yeah. Okay, so I don't know if you can see it, but it's wrinkling, like it's puckering, and that is totally because the tension is way too tight. I loosened the tension, and then I was like, maybe my machine has a walking foot, and that's how I found out it has a walking foot. So we have moved on to this side. I'm gonna hand stitch this down and then bring it over to the machine and do the other side. I don't know if I'll get this done tonight because Toby is already on his way home, and it took me at least 30 minutes to hand sew the first one. All right, let's talk about the difference between these two seams. So do you see this? This is without the walking foot and with really tight tension. And this right here, that's with the walking foot and with the tension loosened. I think the tension is normally set at 3.5 on my machine, and I dropped it down to 2.8. I think I could do it at 3.0 and it'd be fine, but it still looked like it was a little puckering when I was at 3.0. Anyway, I just had to show that. I don't know if I'm going to redo this one or not. I'll let you know in the morning. Hello friends, welcome back. This is the lining fabric, and I have decided that this lining fabric with the actual fabric is way too like maroon and gold. Nothing against my alma mater, but you know, that's not the look we're going for. So I'm gonna pick up some dye so that I can dye this to get it a little less bright. I think I'm gonna get some brown dye and just do like a 10-minute dye bath. Maybe if it's not enough, I can do it again and dye it more. So we're gonna go to Joann Fabrics. Okay, so I am home. Obviously, I've changed because I'm gonna be dyeing fabric, and I just wanted to wear all black so that if there's anything that gets on it, it's not really gonna like ruin it that much. So now let's dye some fabric. So I am gonna be using this dye. I'm gonna use a whole bottle for just one batch because it's like 6 yards of satin. And then I'm also gonna be putting some dish soap in it because it says in the instructions to put dish soap. So I'm gonna put dish soap in it. I'm also gonna rinse the fabric before I put it in the dye bath. I have water on the stove boiling, so I'm gonna get it to boil and put it in my bucket because I don't have a dedicated dye pot. I should look for that antiquing. Okay, so let's do this. Fabric. It doesn't look too different, but you know what? It looks like less orange, which is a success to me. It does look very gold still, which is really what I wanted. If it was, I think I could have left it in for 10 more minutes, but I'm okay with this. This is a really good color. It looks almost exactly like the little like dots that are on his tunic. So that's pretty cool. Now I have to iron it because if you can see, it's a mess. So I'm gonna do that. Basically cut out another segment of the cloak, like do the cloak again. All right, this looks really good. Like, I'm gonna steal this, I think. This might become my cloak. Okay, so it's sewn together. I do need to press all of these open before I attach it to the red, but we're gonna actually do some trim and beadwork on the trim before we sew this to that. I also need to get this on Toby's shoulders and put an elastic thing in here that will kind of hold it in place. I don't know how to explain it, but once I start doing it, or once I do it, I'll show you and explain it then. But basically I want to sew the elastic in place on his shoulders on this before I attach it to that, so that there's no seaming on the outside, and that way I don't have to do it by hand. Yeah. All right, so I spent most of the weekend watching TV and hand sewing down the trim as well as beads on the trim. We watched Stranger Things, Umbrella Academy, and an entire season of RuPaul's Drag Race. So a lot of TV was consumed on this project, but I am at a good point where I can show you what the steps are for adding the beads, and then we can move on to adding the elastic band that's going to hold the cape onto Toby's body. And then finally, we can sew the pretty velvet to the pretty satin, and we will have a cloak. We will have a cloak by the end of today. We'll have a cloak in like 5 hours, I think. So let's go. I'm going to start in the center of the trim design where I'm going to add a sequin and a bead. The bead holds the sequin on, although I could just stitch the sequin down if I didn't want the bead. I go through this twice to really make sure that it's anchored down. To add the bugle beads around the trim, I just bring my needle through to the top, place a bead down, and stitch back through the bottom. I repeat this process throughout the entire trim. I'm going to put this on you.
Uh-huh.
You're going to keep your arms like that for right now.
Just a dressy.
Basically, I just pinned elastic in his armpits, if you see there, that went around his back so that it would just like secure the cape or the cloak onto his body. Then we tested his movement to make sure that he could still lift up his arms and that it wouldn't like, rub against his back in a weird way. Then he can just take it off or put it on just like you would put on a coat, but without actually putting like your arms in sleeves.